Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Now, let's dive into our list of the top 10 countries where Americans might find themselves unwelcome in 2024. Number 1. Russia is a major global player with a complex relationship with the US, characterized by competition and occasional cooperation. Historical context: the Cold War left a legacy of mistrust between the two nations. Recent events, including allegations of election interference and geopolitical conflicts, have further strained relations. Current diplomatic ties are strained, with mutual sanctions and a significant reduction in diplomatic engagement. The US Department of State issues travel advisories for Russia due to security concerns. Travel challenges. American travelers may face scrutiny from security services and potential difficulties due to heightened political tensions. There are also concerns about safety and the treatment of foreign nationals. Personal stories. There have been reports of Americans being detained or questioned by Russian authorities in politically sensitive contexts. These cases highlight the risks of traveling to Russia during times of heightened tension. Number 2. Saudi Arabia. Next on our list is Saudi Arabia. This country has a unique position in global affairs and presents specific challenges for American travelers. Overview. Saudi Arabia is a key ally in the Middle East, but its strict laws and regulations impact American visitors. The kingdom is known for its conservative interpretation of Islamic law. Historical context: the relationship between Saudi Arabia and the US has been generally strong, driven by oil interests and regional security concerns. Current diplomatic relations. The US and Saudi Arabia maintain a strategic partnership, but human rights issues and differing foreign policy positions have created tensions. Travel advisories often emphasize the importance of respecting local laws and customs. Travel challenges. Saudi Arabia has strict social codes, including dress codes and restrictions on behavior. Violating these can lead to severe penalties. Americans should be mindful of local laws, especially those related to public conduct and social norms. Personal stories. Have been instances of foreigners, including Americans, facing legal trouble for not adhering to local customs. Staying informed about Saudi regulations is crucial for a trouble-free visit. Number 3. China. Next up is China, a country with a complex relationship with the United States that presents several challenges for American travelers. Overview. China, the world's most populous country and a major global power, has become increasingly challenging for American travelers due to its strict policies, surveillance, and geopolitical tensions. Historical context: the US-China relationship has been marked by both cooperation and conflict. In recent years, tensions have escalated over trade disputes, human rights issues, and geopolitical maneuvering in regions like the South China Sea and Taiwan. The situation has led to heightened scrutiny of foreign nationals and increased diplomatic friction. Current diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relations between the US and China are strained. Issues such as trade tariffs, accusations of espionage, and human rights concerns, particularly regarding Hong Kong and Xinjiang, have created an atmosphere of tension. The US government has imposed travel advisories warning Americans of potential risks, including surveillance and arbitrary detention. Travel challenges. Americans traveling to China face several challenges, including the risk of being monitored by government surveillance systems, which are among the most extensive in the world. The Chinese government maintains tight control over information and communications, and travelers can face scrutiny or even detention if they are perceived to be engaging in activities deemed sensitive or subversive. Number 4. Iran. Next on our list is Iran. This country has a complicated relationship with the United States, heavily influenced by historical events. Overview. Iran, officially the Islamic Republic of Iran, has been a significant player in Middle Eastern politics and has had a contentious relationship with the US since the 1979 Iranian Revolution. Historical context: the 1979 revolution led to the establishment of a theocratic government and the subsequent hostage crisis, where 52 Americans were held for 444 days. This event has left a lasting impact on US-Iran relations. Current diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relations remain strained. Sanctions and mutual distrust continue to affect interactions between the two nations. Travel advisories often recommend against travel to Iran due to political risks and potential for arrest. Travel challenges. American travelers in Iran may encounter issues related to political sensitivities, surveillance, and arbitrary detentions. Travelers need to exercise extreme caution and adhere strictly to local laws. Number 5. Venezuela. Next up is Venezuela, a country facing severe internal challenges that affect its relationship with the US. Overview. Venezuela has been in the midst of a severe political and economic crisis, leading to strained relations with the US. Historical context. Relations deteriorated under the presidency of Hugo Chavez and continued under Nicolas Maduro. The US has imposed sanctions in response to human rights abuses and political repression. Current diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relations are minimal, with the US having imposed economic sanctions and travel restrictions. The US government advises against travel due to instability. Travel challenges. Americans may face difficulties due to the country's political instability and economic collapse. There are concerns about safety, shortages of essentials, and the overall security environment. Number 6. Syria. Syria is another country where Americans face significant difficulties, primarily due to ongoing conflict. Overview. Syria has been embroiled in a brutal civil war for years, creating a volatile environment for any travelers. Historical context. The Syrian civil war, along with US involvement and sanctions, has created a hostile environment for Americans. Current diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relations are virtually non-existent, with significant restrictions on travel due to the conflict and security situation. Travel challenges. Americans are strongly advised against traveling to Syria due to the ongoing conflict, risk of kidnapping, and general instability. Number 7. Cuba. Cuba is our 5th country. Despite its proximity to the US, relations have been fraught with difficulties. Overview. Cuba, an island nation in the Caribbean, has had a long-standing adversarial relationship with the US dating back to the Cuban Revolution. Historical context. The Cuban Missile Crisis and subsequent embargoes have defined the US-Cuba relationship. Although there were periods of thawing, tensions remain high. Current diplomatic relations. Relations have fluctuated, with periods of engagement followed by increased sanctions and travel restrictions. The US has various restrictions on travel to Cuba. Travel challenges. Americans face restrictions on travel and financial transactions. There are also concerns about government surveillance and the overall political climate. Number 8. North Korea. North Korea. This isolated nation has long been a challenging destination for Americans. Overview. North Korea, officially known as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, is known for its strict control over its citizens and limited engagement with the outside world. Current diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relations between North Korea and the US are minimal and fraught with mistrust. The US government strongly advises against travel to North Korea due to the potential for arrest and detention. Travel challenges. Americans traveling to North Korea face severe restrictions. The regime's tight control means any deviation from approved itineraries can result in serious consequences. There's also a risk of being used as political leverage in international negotiations. Number 9. Myanmar. Let's discuss Myanmar. The situation here is marked by severe political unrest and humanitarian issues. Overview. Myanmar, formerly known as Burma, has been experiencing significant political unrest and human rights abuses. Current diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relations are strained, and the US has imposed sanctions in response to the military's actions. Travel advisories warn against visiting due to security and humanitarian concerns. Travel challenges. The political situation and human rights issues make travel to Myanmar dangerous. There are risks of arrest, violence, and general instability. Number 10. Yemen. The situation here is complex and fraught with danger. Overview. Current diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relations are minimal, and the US government strongly advises against travel to Yemen due to the ongoing conflict and security risks. Travel challenges. The risks include armed conflict, high levels of violence, and severe shortages of essential resources. Americans are at significant risk of harm. Personal stories. The dire situation in Yemen has led to numerous instances where foreign nationals have been caught in the crossfire or faced severe difficulties. Number 11. Turkey. Moving on, let's talk about Turkey. This country, straddling both Europe and Asia, has had a complex relationship with the US, especially in recent years. Overview. Turkey, a NATO ally, has had a historically close relationship with the US. However, recent years have seen a deterioration in relations due to various political and diplomatic issues. Historical context. Relations between Turkey and the US have been strained by a range of issues, including disagreements over US support for Kurdish groups in Syria, human rights concerns, and diplomatic disputes. The failed coup attempt in 2016 further strained relations, with accusations of US involvement. Current diplomatic relations. While Turkey remains a strategic partner in some areas, tensions over foreign policy and human rights issues continue. Travel advisories sometimes reflect these tensions, cautioning Americans to be aware of local sensitivities. Travel challenges. Americans in Turkey may face scrutiny from authorities, particularly in politically sensitive areas. There have been instances of arrests related to political tensions, and travelers are advised to stay informed about local developments. Personal stories. There have been cases where Americans have been detained or faced legal issues due to perceived political activities or affiliations. It's essential to exercise caution and avoid involvement in any political discussions. Number 12. Zimbabwe. Moving on to Zimbabwe, a country with its own set of challenges for American travelers. Overview. Zimbabwe has faced economic instability and political turmoil, which affects its reception of American visitors. Current diplomatic relations. Relations with the US are complicated by economic sanctions and concerns over human rights and governance. Travel advisories often reflect these issues, recommending caution. Travel challenges. Economic instability can lead to shortages of essentials and disruptions in services. Additionally, political demonstrations and unrest can pose risks for travelers. Number 13. Libya. The instability here poses significant challenges for American travelers. Overview. Libya has faced significant turmoil following the fall of Muammar Gaddafi, leading to ongoing conflict and instability. Historical context. The 2011 uprising and subsequent civil war have left the country in a state of flux, with multiple factions vying for control. Current diplomatic relations. Diplomatic engagement is minimal, and travel advisories strongly caution against visiting due to the unstable situation. Travel challenges. The security situation in Libya is extremely volatile, with risks including armed conflict, kidnapping, and general lawlessness. Personal stories. Reports of Americans and other foreigners facing dangerous situations highlight the severe risks associated with traveling to Libya. Number 14. Belarus. Belarus. Known for its political environment and relationship with the West, Belarus presents challenges for American travelers. Overview. Belarus, often described as Europe's last dictatorship, has had a strained relationship with the West, including the United States, due to its authoritarian governance. Its current diplomatic relations with the US are limited, with sanctions and travel warnings reflecting the strained situation. The US government advises caution when traveling to Belarus. Travel challenges. Americans in Belarus may encounter issues related to political dissent and government surveillance. The political climate can be unpredictable, leading to potential risks for foreign nationals. Personal stories. There have been reports of foreigners being detained or questioned in politically sensitive contexts. Travelers should stay informed and avoid engaging in any political activities. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our exciting content.